Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I'm gonna take you on a tour of good news because I don't know how to title this video. I just want to show you some very interesting orchids that are doing quite exciting stuff. Talk a little bit about these orchids and what they're doing. So not only look at the pretty flower, but also I'm hoping to give you some information about the orchids as well. So I think I'm just gonna call this video the tour of good news or something of the sort because it has a ring to it, doesn't it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and the concept and just hanging out with me today. It's a watch and chill type of video, but if you do enjoy it, please do give this video a like, leave me a comment, tell me what you thought about it. A share would be great for other people who might need to chill a little bit with orchids. And hey, why not subscribe? I post multiple times a week. With that said, let's start. What should we start with? I don't know. Oh, I know. I'm gonna start with the Laelia Latona, which is my tallest orchid. She's super tall and super pretty. Now, as you can see, it is blooming, but there were quite a few reasons for worry with this orchid. What are you doing here? Come with me. Okay, so I had quite a few reasons to worry, and I'll show you one of them. So it had two flower spikes. One of them didn't actually develop, or it did, but the buds were very misshapen. They looked very weird. And on this flower spike, you can see that one of the flowers, what is this? It is totally lacking petals, and I was thinking that, yeah, the flowering is compromised, which, you know, it's okay, I can wait, but more worrisome, maybe the orchid has a genetic issue. Maybe it's misshapen genetically. Maybe it's not something I did, but then, if you guys remember, I told you that I did use that plant hormone additive just to test it, just to consume the bottle because I had the product. I used it on all of my orchids and I did have a lot of misshapen buds. For the past year and a half now, most of the orchids got rid of the substance from their system. This one didn't because it didn't bloom last year. I think that was the culprit because, as you can see, the new flower actually looks good on this orchid. I will give you some close-ups. So I do believe hormonal balances establish themselves, and I'm hoping that the next bud will be okay. But yeah, this year the flowering was a little bit compromised on the Latona, and look how pretty she is. I think she will be okay though, because this flower looks good. So that is good news. But yeah, if you guys didn't know, products that contain plant hormones, especially products that have algae extracts, or they do specify they have plant hormones, be careful how you use them. I personally don't like to use them, to be honest. I would not recommend anybody to use them, but hey, you do you. You don't have to listen to me. But be careful with them because they can create deformities on flowers, which is not something I'm saying. I read about it before using the product. I was aware of it, but I did follow instructions. I didn't think I would have issues. I think I did have issues from that product. So yeah, be careful with algae extracts and things of the sorts. If you want to use them, use them. Just be careful. If you don't think you need them, my opinion is that you absolutely don't need them. So I agree with you. And hey, look at that. I took you outside. It is so weird because I'm at the edge of my terrace and people can see me, and people wake up very early here and start to make noise. So yeah, the noise, hopefully we can get through this. Good news on the terrace, my two Dendrobiums, which are always sold as each other, are going to bloom. So the Dendrobium thyrsiflorum, he has a multitude of buds all over. It is so exciting. Oh my goodness. Also the farmeri does. He's much closer to blooming. There he is. Hopefully the sun is not too harsh, but for the first time in my life I will get to see the thyrsiflorum in bloom. I've wanted this orchid, I don't know, 7 years, for 7 years now, ever since I saw it in Brad's video, which was like an eternity ago. And I always got the farmeri. I always got mislabeled ones. Hence why I was saying they're always sold as each other. I don't think the farmeri is sold as a thyrsiflorum, but vice versa, definitely it is the case because I've always purchased this guy, labeled as this guy. As you will see, hopefully together when it's going to bloom, it's not really all that similar. It is similar, but not identical. So for so many years I wanted this particular one, and now finally I have it. I'm so happy about it, and look how many buds it has. I kept it outside all winter long, so it got the chill down, which is great. I guess that's why it's blooming, but this is the first year when I see it in bloom. So very exciting news. Let's go back inside because it's so noisy. Oh my, it's not even 7. It's almost 7. Can you imagine? I just need some peace and quiet sometimes. And here is another view. I don't show you way too often, but hey, it's a special tour. This is my sink and all my aquarium stuff just laying there. It's okay, at least it's not full of pots and everything like it used to be. So I'm trying to stay on top of that because it was a mess. My sink was a mess. I never filmed it. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna start to film it just to keep myself to my word and clean it more often. Anyway, here we have a beautiful orange Dendrobium. Do you guys know what this is? It's the Dendrobium unicum, finally in bloom. The reason why it's still mounted is that I really wanted to see the blooms. It has a new growth. As you can see, it is getting dehydrated because I cannot stay on top no matter what I do. I cannot stay on top of this. And obviously it did not fit in a cloche. This is how I acclimate the fish to the aquarium. I should put it in its place. Oh boy, old habits die hard, don't they? I really need to start being less messy. Okay, so the flowers, look at them. Do they look familiar to you? Yeah, this is one of the parents of the Dendrobium stardust, the orange Dendrobium that everybody wants to have, and many people kind of lose it because it produces a lot of keikis and it dies off. Yeah, this is one of its parents. I don't have luck with that guy either. I've always wanted to have it because obviously it is orange, but it does produce a lot of keikis. No matter what I do, I try to remove them. I try to only leave a few. It just dies off. It's just genetically faulty, quote unquote, I would say, because it has been obtained by people. Most people just buy orchids to keep them as long as they're in bloom and then just throw them away, which is the harsh reality. It is a reality, whether we like it or not. So that's the only thing they're kind of looking for with that hybrid. In my opinion, I might be totally off, but I really do want to keep that Dendrobium. And the closest thing to it, it's one of its parents, which is the species. It is the unicum. Look how beautiful it is. And I'm hoping this guy will not be so prone to keikis. Honestly, so far so good. I have a growth here. I don't see any keiki. Fingers crossed that we don't get any keikis, actually. But look how beautiful he is. He will be potted in a pot and I will let him cascade nicely over the pot. But for now, I'm gonna keep him on the mount a little bit longer because I really want to enjoy the blooms. Another piece of good news is that my Chiloschista orchid is blooming and I cannot wait for it to finish because, oh my goodness, I have to water it every single day and sometimes I forget about it and I freak out because I don't want to lose the blooms, I want to see them. But here she is already opening up some of the flowers and she looks really pretty, doesn't she? It is the first time that I see a Chiloschista. I want to call it Chiloschista because this is how I quote unquote grew up, with her name being Chiloschista, but apparently it's wrong. No one cares, but still. So I will have to say, I thought the flowers were just a little bit bigger, but they're not. They're really tiny, but cute, but I really like it. And when I keep her in the cloche, I can get away with quite a few days of not watering it, which is much better than what I do now. And I'm still thinking maybe once a day is not enough because it's already pretty warm outside. Anyway, very stressful for now, but it is worth it. Just look at those tiny little flowers. I did not detect much of a scent. I think I detect something there, but I'm gonna tell you more about it in the Orchids in Bloom video at the end of the month when I will get to know her a little bit better and tell you all about the scent and all of those things. But yeah, happy that I managed to get those flower spikes to bloom. I didn't lose the flower spikes, and I also saw some root tips growing, which I think they dried. Yeah, they're dry now. When she was in the cloche, they were growing much better than now. So I'm thinking this orchid would anyway do bad if it wasn't for the cloche in my environment. I would have to water it twice a day, which is something I just cannot do. There are so many things in my mind that no, watering something twice a day, it's just not gonna happen, whether I like it or not. So yeah, thankful about the cloche situation. We'll talk about this in a different video, but look how pretty. This is my cloche shelf, which I will talk to you guys about in a different video. What I wanted to show you was the Chiloschista and how pretty the flowers look. And look at that, we're outside again for round 2. Hopefully no noisy car or noisy neighbor will pass by. So I have another piece of good news here. This is, I forgot the name, Encyclia Alata. I've had this orchid for a while. It's the orchid with the beautiful, super plump pseudobulbs. I always liked the pseudobulbs on this orchid. Never bloomed in 3 years, 4 years, something like that. Well, that's all about to change because look at this. I don't think I can focus on this flower spike, but you can see we are having a beautiful tall flower spike. Now this orchid is supposed to be very fragrant and quite unique looking. It's supposed to be yellow. Again, it's an orchid that I've wanted for many, many years. I've had this one for quite a few years. It grew beautifully, it just never bloomed. I have to repot it. It's been already 2 years in this pot, or maybe more, but I don't want to disturb it just yet. I might leave it here for 1 more year. The only problem that I have with this orchid is that it gets dehydrated super fast, and I have to keep it pretty much wet at all times. You can see it is wet, but yeah, she's a big girl, and I do find that Encyclias are quite thirsty type of Cattleya orchids. The bigger they are, the thirstier they are. I don't know, do you guys have this with your Encyclias? I find them a lot more thirsty than typical Cattleyas, which is okay. I put a little bit more sphagnum moss in the medium, and I make sure that I water it more often. Look at this flower spike. I am so incredibly excited about it. And look at the pseudobulb. I don't think you can see, or you can tell actually how big the pseudobulb is. Look at this. Wow. How cool is that, and how glossy it is. Really like this orchid. Next up, who do we have here? It is the Psychopsis, which, look at that. He has a new growth which completely matured. Let's brighten the video up a little bit, and that new growth started to grow a little something at the base here. Initially, I didn't know if it was a flower spike or another new growth, but now it looks to me very, very likely that it is a flower spike because it is very elongated. It doesn't start to leaf out. It keeps producing these sheaths, which are actually these sheaths on the flower spikes. So I'm gonna have 2 flower spikes on the Psychopsis, which is super exciting because the more flower spikes on a Psychopsis, the better. In case you didn't know, Psychopsis orchids, oh my goodness, way too overexposed. So Psychopsis orchids actually bloom sequentially from the top of the pseudobulb for a few years. Now, what happened to this bud? Well, the answer is in the pseudobulbs. Do you see they're slightly wrinkly, slightly shrivelly? Yeah. Well, this orchid is very, very thirsty, and at some point I was not on top with my watering. It got so dehydrated. This pseudobulb used to be quite plump. Now I don't think it will ever be super, super plump again. That's okay though. It was a mistake on my part. I just postponed watering because I simply couldn't, and I shouldn't have for this guy. I should have gave him a little drink. And as a result, actually, the bud that was forming dried up. No worries though, we have another bud forming right here at the top because this is a sequential bloomer. It will bloom continuously over and over again from this flower spike. Even if you lose a bud, hey, that's fine. Another one will take its place. So imagine 2 flower spikes producing flowers at the same time. It should be quite a spectacle. Is spectacle a bad word? Is it like showing off in a bad way? I'm not entirely sure, but it's gonna be a good show is what I'm trying to say. And lastly, let's just take a look at some Vandas, actually one Vanda, and I think I need my little chair for this because, maybe I don't. So this is the little white Vanda which we saved in a video a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so. It has a really nice story. I got it for free. The seller just gave it to me and said, hey, save it. Maybe you can save it. So if you remember, the mother plant was looking pretty horrible. I'll try to find the video and link it down below in the description. Well, I have a little update. I switched it from a clay pot to a plastic pot because I cannot keep up with watering, which is the main idea with many of my Vandas, but it's okay. At some point I will probably transfer them to plastic, even though there's nothing wrong with the clay pots. As their roots grow, so does my inability to keep them hydrated. Anyway, besides the point though. So here is what I wanted to show you. If I can focus, the camera for whatever reason thinks that I want to show you the macrame hanger. No, that camera. There we go. Do you see little roots? Yeah, we have roots. Yay! First, on this keiki, I didn't see anything on the other keiki which looked doubtful or questionable from the get-go, but this guy is looking good. And also, I saw sap droplets. Can I actually find them and film them for you guys? I did saw tiny little droplets, which means it is getting hydration. There is a root inside this pot, which I checked. You cannot see it through the pot just yet, but there is a root in this pot which hydrates the orchid. And if you go back to the initial video, you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, the good news is it's going to make it. I do believe I managed to save it. And I'm gonna have a white Vanda with a nice story. How cute is that? I really love these types of orchids that I can tell you stuff about. Not only it needs highlight, it needs water when the medium is dry and fertilizer. I want to tell you more about it in the sense of its history, because each orchid is an individual to me. How do you guys look at your orchids? Is it like just the plants? You know, the plants, or each and every one of them has its own little quote-unquote personality? You view it as a sort of individual. I don't know, I sometimes tend to do that. Now with all orchids, I'll be honest, there are some orchids, and especially the flower shop phals, which I kind of bunch together. They're the girls, but there are some orchids which, I don't know, I attribute some sort of personality traits for the fun of it, not because I believe they have personalities. Each individual is a little bit different, obviously, but you know what I mean. So yeah, let me know. Am I the only one who thinks of most of my orchids as individuals with their own little stories and stuff? I don't know, it's kind of fun to think about them like that. Okay, so that's about it on the tour of good news. It's not always good news, but it's nice to focus on that from time to time, because at some point, I do remember somebody told me in a comment that I seem to always focus on the problems. And you know, it makes sense, because I do videos telling you how to fix problems. So yeah, I'm gonna focus on the bad stuff. But yeah, that person was right. I kind of need to balance things a little bit more, which is what I tried to do over the past, I don't know, a year, a couple of years or so. Just balance the good stuff with the bad stuff. It's important to know how to fix the bad stuff, but it's also important to give you guys hope that, you know what, good stuff are prevalent, even though I tend to film more of the bad stuff. So that's what I've been trying to do, and I think that's the purpose of this tour. And yeah, inspire you to look forward to the good stuff that the orchids will give you, not only focusing on the bad stuff, right? So thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know in a comment what you think, and I hope you have a great day. Subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos, tutorials, experiments, updates, and other fun orchid subjects. If you wish to support the channel, do consider becoming a member or visit the merch store linked down below in the description. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. It's always nice to stay in touch there as well. And with that said, I'll see you next time. Bye!